hope you enjoyed the show so far. I'm Emerson Donahoe, a proud member of the Lakeridge High School a cappella choir. Our first selection tonight will be an arrangement of Jingle Bells by Philip Lawson, the Grammy Award-winning British composer and arranger who served for 15 years as the principal arranger of the King's College Choir in London. This fresh arrangement of the holiday classic features stunning harmonies, and it's a favorite of ours in our cappella choir. Next, we will be performing Hope for Resolution, a song from Mandela and de Klerk, which was written as a musical representation of the apartheid in South Africa. In this piece, composers Paul Cladwell and Sean Ivory fuse a classic European melody with an African anti-apartheid song, representing an integrated peacefulness between the two cultures in South Africa. A cappella's third and final song, Light One Candle, was written in 1982 by Peter Yara of the folk group Peter, Paul, and Mary. It was written as a pacifist response to Israel's invasion of Lebanon and to inspire hope within Jewish people across the world. Over the years, this joyful song has become a classic Hanukkah carol and an inspiration to all, reminding us to not let the light go out within our souls during hard times. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy these selections from the Lakeridge a cappella choir. Happy holidays.
We've got quite a group of percussionists here. They're listed in your program. Let's see, Will Owen, Grant Routzy, Alex Connolly, and Russell Grove. Not listed in your program, playing soprano saxophone on this piece, our band director, Mr. Chris McCurry. Before seeing our last selection, and then we got a lot of exciting things that are going to happen. But before that, we're going to sing one more piece. And I do want to thank all of the people who are supporters of the choir program. First and foremost, that's you, parents, community members, alumni, people, members of our community. We wouldn't be here without you. I also want to thank my great colleagues. They're here tonight. Mr. McCurdy, who just saw playing the saxophone. Mr. Balnick is back there in the booth helping out. Mr. Schwalbach, the choir director from Lake Oswego High School, is here. He's got a great program going over there. Their concert was last week. And our great administrators, some of whom are here tonight as well. Desiree Fisher is back there. John Park is here tonight. And they're just wonderful people, and I couldn't ask to work with better colleagues. A round of applause for all of those people. Also, I do want to say again, she's such an important person in choral music, been our leader in our region in choral music, and she's a retired choir director from Western Oregon University. Solveig Holmquist is here tonight, I believe. And we're so lucky to have, I was just telling Mr. Ticen, who expressed some envy, that he never had an accompanist who was able who worked at the school, was in the office, and was able to just run on down for a practice. And we've been very fortunate. This man and I started at Lakeridge in the same year, 2006, and he's been playing for the choirs ever since. He's our accompanist and a very good friend of mine, Mr. Corey Fivecook. One more thing I forgot. We have lots of Katie Car Wash cards left. It's great stocking stuffers. If you only wash your car in the summer, you're really missing out. The car gets very dirty in the wintertime. Buy those Katie Car Wash cards and support the choir. And so thank you for being here. This is our final selection.
My God.
Well, this time, before you all come up and before you guys can come back in if you want to, but before we invite everyone back, because it's going to be really chaotic, I want to take a minute to just give the mic to Mr. Steve Ticen. And before I do, he's coming around here, I just want to say, none of us would be here today without him. I remember when I started at Lakeridge, he was very gracious during the transition. We had some dinners together, and he explained everything that was about to happen. And we had some nice rounds of golf together during those days, which is a good place to talk about being a choir director. At least it was for us. I just want to say, for any of you in your career, when you think about giving a lifetime of service to one place, it's really special. And this man could have taught at a lot of different places. He could have moved. He could have, looked at going to a different school. But he gave 31 years of service to this very place, and I think is incredibly special, and it deserves recognition. And on your way out, by the way, don't forget to look at the great pictures of him and you all in those company groups from yesteryear. And don't forget to take a picture with his star. There's 4 stars now in the floor out there, but you're the first, Mr. Ticen. So I'm gonna let's give a big round of applause for Mr. Ticen.
Well, I'm very honored that Mr. Campbell asked me to come back tonight and to conduct the Hallelujah Chorus, always one of my favorite events. He also told me to reminisce a little bit, so I don't want to take a lot of time, but maybe a few minutes, just to maybe give you a little background on the choir program here. I started off teaching in a small school north of Spokane, just south of the Canadian border. Taught there for 2 years. Went back to Washington State University in Pullman, where I got my undergraduate degree, and I was accepted into the graduate program there, and I taught for a year and a half university chorus and university swing choir. And then when it was time to get back into the public education again, there were only 3 choir jobs open in the entire Northwest in Washington, Oregon. One of them was a junior high job in Salem, which I wasn't terribly interested in doing junior high. So the other one was up in Kent, Washington. I wasn't really interested in that area. So I looked at this, Lake Oswego, Oregon, Lakeridge High School. So I applied for this job, and I was invited to come down and interview. And when I finished my interview, the personnel director at the time, his name was Jerry Hessling, and some of you older students may remember him. Marie was his daughter. But Jerry Hessling told me that he said, we had 40 people apply for this job. We're interviewing 10, and you're the 10th. So we'll let you know. So I flew back to Pullman, and not having a whole lot of hope, and as I walked in my apartment, the phone was ringing, and it was Jerry Hessling offering me the job. And I was pretty amazed. That was back in 1975. And so I came here, and the first choir director at Lakeridge was a man named Merlin Gackle. And some of you here had Merlin Gackle. And he was here for 3 years, and then he left teaching and became a vice president of American Bankers. And he moved down to Orlando, Florida. And so I started here in 1975. I inherited 3 choirs and about 140 kids. I also was teaching freshman English in 2 classes of study hall, and I really wanted to just have a program of choir So by the 1980s, I had 6 choirs, as are still here now. I'm very pleased to see that. We had about anywhere from 300 to 350 kids in my program for the next 25 years. And that was about 1/3 of the student body. So it really was a very prideful thing that I had going here, and I just, in 2006 I decided to retire, and Mr. Campbell came on board, and as he said, we talked over golf and over meals about how this program worked here, and he's taken over, and I'm very proud of the strength and stability of this program, and I see lots of familiar faces out here. I've seen, I think, the oldest people, of former students, I should say, of mine, were class of 1977. And I've seen 3 of them, so I'm real happy to see that. And I know there's also several of these students that are children of my former students. And they've come up and introduced themselves to me, so that's pretty cool too. I wanted to introduce, I've got some members of my family here. I would like them to stand up. They're along the wall back there. Would you all stand up, please? Stay standing, please. Stay standing, you guys. From left to right, there's 3 of my grandsons. There's Caleb and Levi and Shaman. Actually, a lot when they were little, they used to come up on stage here and hang out and do things. My son-in-law Johnny is in the middle there. He flew up from San Jose this afternoon and is flying back tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock. He came up here just for this because his wife has been telling him what a great program Lakeridge has had in choir. And then another son-in-law, Jason, and then his wife, my stepdaughter, Christy, who was a member of choir and company. And behind them is my wife, Rebecca, who for 25 years, she was my assistant in class. She helped me on variety shows, worked in musicals. She did it all. She's an incredible person. So I thank you, all my family, for coming up here tonight. So without further chit-chat, I'd like to have alumni come up and other choirs to come out, and we're going to perform the Hallelujah Chorus. Okay, so sopranos on stage right, basses, tenors, altos. this, one of the things that I wanted to point out, and it slipped my mind, was that if I could, one of the things that I wanted to point out that slipped my mind was, I think it's pretty amazing. Lakeridge is, I think this is the 46th year, 46 years of Lakeridge, and there have only been 3 choir directors here. And Merlin was the first one, and he was here for 3 years. So for 42 years, 42, 43 years, there's only been 2 choir directors. And that's pretty good stability, so really proud of that. One of the things, this Hallelujah Chorus has been a tradition with the Lakeridge Choir winter concert, Christmas concert, ever since Lakeridge began. And one of the stories that I always told every year was the story behind the tradition of people standing for the Hallelujah Chorus. And the story goes that back in the 18th century when this was premiered, King George II of England was in the audience, and when the music started, he jumped up to his feet. And people don't know exactly why. There have been several theories. One was that he was just excited about hearing the music. Another one was that he just wanted to stretch his legs because he was tired. Also, he suffered from gout. So he may have been trying to work that out in his system. But he stood up, and the protocol was when the king stood up, everybody stands up. So as the music starts, we invite you to join in this tradition of standing for Handel's Hallelujah Chorus.